Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Crystalline. Last time we finally made it into town and went to bed, and we were just getting woken up in the night. So let's see. Let's see. Takes us, shall we? A knock on my door jolts me awake. I sit straight up in the bed and barely notice a tiny yelp as the pongo tumbles to the floor. Hello? The knocking stops.
It's Leanna. Are you about ready?
I rub my eyes and blink at the feeble rays of light outside. So this isn't really in the middle of the night, is it? What time is it?
It's past dawn. We need to get a move on if we want to make a good time.
Okay, well if it's just past dawn, then yeah, it kind of is the middle of the night, let's be honest here. Dawn? There's no good reason anyone should be awake at this hour, right? I attempt to lay back down in my bed when the knocking starts again. Alright, I'll be there in a minute. The noise stops. I yawn and stretch, then notice the pongo on the floor. What are you doing on the floor, buddy? Weren't you sleeping on the bed? The pongo wiggles and shoots me an accusatory look. I glance at the slight indentation on my pillow and back at the blue mass on the floor. Sorry, I didn't mean to knock you off. He looks cautiously at me, then hops onto the bed and up onto my head. Ugh. He nips at my hair and then jiggles. I guess that means he's forgiven me. I push myself to my feet and begin getting dressed. Once I've grabbed all of my things, I push open the door and nearly collide with Leanna. Whoa!
Are you ready to go?
Yeah. Leanna nods, then leads the way out of the inn. I follow her through town as we head north. It's a lot quieter than when we first arrived, as the town gradually begins to wake up. We don't run into too many people on the street. Although the shops aren't open yet, I can see the shopkeepers busy prepping for the day. Right before we reach the edge of town, a guard stops us.
There's been heightened bandit activity reported on these roads.
Leanna's brows crease.
Are the roads closed?
No, but until we get a handle on the bandit activity, we're advising everyone to stay in town.
We can't stay.
Where are you headed?
We're headed to Illumia.
The guard notices the sigil on Leanna's manipulator.
You're a mage knight?
She nods. As the guard turns his focus to me, I draw attention to the blade on my hip. He nods gruffly, then moves out of the way.
Just be careful out there.
Thank you.
She motions for me to follow her. Once we're back on the familiar dirt path, I take one last look at Meadow Hill Village before refocusing on the road ahead of me. Our trek along the path is peaceful. The forest gradually awakens with birdsong and the scuttling of woodland animals. Having grown up in the city, the sounds of nature still startle me, and I glance at every rustle of the leaves. Leanna, though, seems unfazed. Her eyes routinely survey her surroundings. Suddenly, she freezes. I nearly bump into her. What the?
Shh.
I fall silent as she listens. When she speaks, her voice is a whisper.
Did you hear that?
I strain my ears, listening for anything out of place. Then I hear the voices among the trees. Bandits? A strangled scream pierces the air, scaring a flock of birds into flight.
Someone might be in danger.
Her previous caution abandoned, Leanna sprints towards the sound and I follow at her heels. We both take cover as the trees open up, revealing a man in a trench coat surrounded by 5 bandits. One more bandit lies motionless on the ground. Upon seeing their fallen comrade, the bandits all unsheath their weapons. 3 of them hold longswords and 2 of them point guns. The trench-coated man doesn't stir. His dark hair falls over his eyes and I can't see his face.
You won't get away from us this time. Take him out.
The man pushes open his coat and draws 2 guns as the bandits converge. Leanna sets her jaw, right up there on the shelf.
Stay here.
As soon as the words fall from her lips, she races out from the trees. Her hair whips behind her and her white coattails billow in a graceful arc. She moves faster than any human, as if the air is pushing her forward instead of dragging her down. Her gauntlet hand clenches and a blue sphere glows, then disappears as she smashes her fist into the nearest bandit. This is like reading a description of an anime without being able to see it. He flies away from her and crashes against a tree before crumpling into a heap.
A mage knight?
She must be with him.
Or she's after the bounty. Take her out too!
The mysterious man fires a hail of purple blasts at the bandits, catching one of them in the chest. Leanna deflects the sword from another bandit with her own blade. I can't just sit here and do nothing, I have to help! Ignoring Leanna's command, I unsheath my sword and charge into battle. Oh shoot! I get to actually attack! Let's do this, click the matching icon, let's go. Boom! That... yeah. When I think about quality battles, Leanna breathes heavily as she surveys the bodies around her. She glances at me and the stranger who's still standing.
Anyone hurt?
I do a gentle pat down of myself and wince at my bruises. What? I got everything right. Why am I bruised? Whatever. Nothing major. Leanna nods, then she fidgets with her manipulator. The man stays silent as he inspects his gun. Dude, there's a lady present. Come on now. Have some decorum. Now that I have a better look at him, I realize that although his fierce scowl makes him seem tough, he doesn't look that much older than me. His hair has a habit of falling around his eyes because he's a dirty little emo, but as he pushes it back, I notice a long scar cut across one eye. Once satisfied, he tucks his gun back into his belt and gets to his feet. He nods at us.
Thanks.
Oh, his name's that. You know what? Maybe I do like this guy. Yay, emo. Then he turns away.
Wait!
He pauses.
Where are you headed?
Why?
There might be more bandits around. We should team up if we're going in the same direction. Safety in numbers.
He studies us in stony silence. Then his gaze flicks to her manipulator and he relaxes slightly.
Where are you going?
We're headed to Illumia.
Me too.
Leanna nods.
You're from the Mage Guild?
Yes, I'm Leanna.
I'm Fugle.
Zach.
All of us glance at the little blue Pongo who seemingly popped out of nowhere. And, this is our little friend.
I see.
The Pongo blinks at Zach, who stares him down. The Pongo bounces uncertainly. Zach's unblinking stare never wavers, so the Pongo scoots behind my leg for safety. Okay, I openly hated the stupid Pongo at the start. Why didn't it do this to me?
Now that introductions are over, let's get moving.
Zach waits for us to collect our things, and once we're all set, we head back onto the road. Leanna and I lead the way, the Pongo keeping pace with us, while Zach hangs a few steps behind us. Let's ask about Leanna's speed. Leanna, I saw you during the fight. How were you able to move so fast?
Oh, I cast wind magic to manipulate my movements.
Oh, of course, yes. As anyone would do. Oh, so like putting on a speed buff.
They're small adjustments, like shifting the draft to move me forward, or using a breeze to help lift me during jumps.
Damn, that sounds awesome. She grins.
The next time you're lagging behind, I'll use my wind to give you a little boost.
That would be amazing. I can already imagine myself running like the wind. Leanna seems pleased by my reaction. Let's ask about Zach's weapon. So what type of gun is Zach carrying?
You mean his discharger?
What's a discharger? I hear a sound behind us. Zach raises an eyebrow when I turn to look at him.
Did you hit your head or something?
Leanna looks a little uncomfortable.
He's not exactly from around here.
Zach crosses his arms.
I see.
That's right, brood. There's a pause. So, a discharger?
It's a weapon that uses crystal spheres to power it.
Ah, of course. What else could it be? So it is a gun.
Maybe?
The spheres are the bullets. Well, it's kind of the magazine in some sense because it's used to fire bullets, or in this case, bolts of energy. Leanna looks uncertain. Although it made sense in my head, I can see why she might be confused. Never mind, I got it. Thanks.
Sure.
She smiles. I feel Zach's gaze on me, but his expression is hard to read. Ask how Zach knew she was in the Mage Guild. So how did Zach know you were in the Mage Guild?
He saw my emblem.
She lifts up her arm and points to the sigil on her manipulator. What exactly does the Mage Guild do?
We investigate any type of magical anomaly. The Mage Guild in Havengard is actually headquartered in Illumia.
Sort of like a police force? Leanna furrows her brow.
Police?
Like how detectives go out into the field to solve mysteries?
A little like that.
It now makes sense as to why both the guard in Meadow Hill Village and Zack relaxed after seeing Leanna's emblem. Well, it looks like that guard was telling the truth. There definitely are bandits on this road.
Yeah.
There's something in her voice which makes me think she doesn't completely agree. What is it?
It's just, well, for bandits, they were pretty well equipped.
She stares hard at Zack, but he doesn't react. What does that mean? Are they not bandits? Leanna continues to look at Zack.
I'm not sure.
They were bandits.
She looks sharply at Zack, obviously caught off guard.
Sure.
That didn't sound too convincing. The subject drops, but I still feel a little uneasy. If these guys weren't bandits, then who were they? And why were they attacking Zack? I know he seems like a stand-up guy, right? The questions circle my mind as the conversation lulls to silence. Leanna leads the way through, though she seems to have something on her mind. Zack trails from behind. He remains on heightened alert. We travel together for quite some time with no further interruptions. I can feel my legs start to burn from all the Suck it up, Buttercup, come on. Leanna squints at the sky.
We should make camp before it gets dark.
Zack nods.
There's a good spot up ahead which hides us from view. It'll still give us visibility on any intruders, though.
Sounds good. Zack leads the way, and soon we reach the clearing. The three of us get to work setting up camp. I roll out my bedroll near the campfire and notice how thinly it spreads on the ground. Can this thing really be comfortable? What, do you want an air mattress? Come on, man. I guess there's only one way to find out. I lie down on the bedroll and place my hands behind my head. This isn't as bad as I thought. A yawn escapes my lips. I could definitely fall asleep here. My gaze lingers on the night sky above. The moon hangs in the inky sky, dotted with so many pinpricks of silver light. They sparkle vividly, as if trying to chase away the dark. I breathe out a breath in wonder. I never knew that stars could shine so brightly. I try to pick out a few constellations, but the star patterns above are unfamiliar.
What are you looking at?
I quickly sit up at the sound of Leanna's voice. She holds two steaming bowls in her hands. I accept one of the bowls with a smile as she sits beside me, not behind me. Just admiring the sky. This place is really beautiful. Back where I live, you don't get to see so many stars.
How come?
Light pollution. Our cities are filled with so much light that it drowns out the stars. Leanna gazes thoughtfully at the sky.
Right. It's a little harder to see the stars in town than it is out here.
I shake my head. That's not the same. Some nights I don't see the stars at all. Her eyes widen in surprise. Then she places her chin in her hands.
A night sky without stars.
She looks at me.
What's your world like?
It's really different. We don't have any magic, but we have a lot of technology instead.
What sort of technology?
Things like cars.
What's a car?
It's a means of transportation. With a car, we could have made the journey from the Meadow Hill Plains to Meadow Hill Village within half an hour instead of half a day. Leanna looks intrigued.
You have an animal that can travel that fast?
No, it runs off of gas or electricity, depending on what type of car you have.
So it's like our carriages, which are powered by crystals. The more energy it uses, the faster it goes.
Something like that. We have airplanes too, which fly in the sky so we can have faster travel to other areas of the world.
Humans who can fly?
Leanna's eyes grow in wonder and she grins.
What else do you have?
Yeah, mobile phones. Cell phones. Actually, I fish in my pockets and pull out my phone. This is my cell. She leans in close to inspect it.
What does it do?
I can make calls with it or send messages and talk to people far away. It also tells me the time and I can take pictures or play games too if I want. She takes the phone in her hand and flips it back and forth.
Is it like scrying? How does it do that?
Well, I'd have to turn it on first, but it doesn't work here. I think the battery is dead.
Oh,
She doesn't bother hiding her disappointment. She tilts her head back and returns her gaze to the sky. Underneath the moonlight, her pale skin seems to glow amidst the darkness. Her face softens as she smiles.
you're right. The stars really are beautiful.
Right? We fall into a comfortable silence as we enjoy the tranquility of the night. After we've finished eating and cleaning up, Zack approaches us.
It's getting late.
Leanna nods.
I'll take first watch so you can rest.
All right, I'll take second watch.
I guess that just leaves me with third. Zack stares unblinkingly at me, while Leanna coughs nervously.
That's okay. We had an early start, and I'm sure you're tired. We should rest up and sleep through the night.
Do you guys not trust me? It almost sounds like you guys don't trust me. Although I try to keep my tone light and joking, Leanna looks guilty.
No, that's not. I mean, it's not that we don't trust.
Yes.
She looks sharply at Zack. His arms are crossed, but his expression doesn't change. Seriously? Zack nods toward Leanna.
She's part of the Mage Guild, so I know she won't pull any tricks. I don't know anything about you.
You're just a filthy stranger.
I'm sorry.
As the fire in my mind abates, I realize Zack has a point. I've given him no reason to trust me, outside of helping save him from bandits. You know, outside of every single thing that he's seen me do being to help him. Whatever. If I were in his shoes, I'd be just as cautious. I nod. Alright, I suppose that's fair.
I better get to sleep then. Good night.
Good night. Zack nods. Leanna flashes me one last smile before crawling into her bedroll. As she lies down, Zack positions himself against a tree and takes a seat. Let me get to know him. If we're going to be traveling together, I should make an effort to get to know what kind of person he is. I walk over to Zack. Hey. Huh? Mind if I sit? He gestures for me to join him. So I do. Huh. Obviously, I'll have to lead the conversation. So, how's the weather? Zack stares at me. Alright, let's switch gears. Are you a cat or a dog person?
Is this going anywhere?
I sigh. I'm trying to build up some trust here, but you've got to meet me halfway. Zack looks away. Great, I guess he doesn't want to talk.
Dog.
Dog. Okay, what?
I prefer canines.
You filthy animal. Oh, cool. The silence creeps in again. So, we're all going to Illumia.
Yep.
What brings you there?
I'm meeting someone.
Oh, a friend?
Someone from work.
What do you do?
I'm a mercenary.
Oh. It all makes sense
What
now.
does?
Everything about you, the angst, that hard-boiled exterior, the frequent cold shoulder. You're totally the brooding main character for one of my JRPGs.
What are you talking about?
He stares at me and I smirk. That's exactly how one of those MCs would react.
So, why are you going to Illumia?
Leanna's taking me to the Mage Academy. He studies me again.
Are you a mage? You don't have a manipulator.
I shake my head. No, I'm looking for answers. He nods in understanding and doesn't pry. Although I try to stop it, a yawn escapes.
You should get some sleep. We have an early start in the morning.
That sounds familiar. I push myself to standing. Good night. He nods. I lie down in my bedroll and scooch around to get comfortable. I try closing my eyes to sleep, but something still doesn't feel right. Oh yeah, I need a pillow. Sitting up, I look around for anything I can use. My gaze falls on the Pongo, who now rests beside Leanna. Pongo pillow! This is happening. Psst! Pongo! The Pongo blinks open bleary eyes, but perks up when he notices me. Come here. He happily bounces over. When he comes within reach, I make a grab for him and plunk him on my bedroll. He squeaks in protest as I lay my head on him. Like a slippery eel, he wiggles himself free and bounds back to Leanna's side. No, Pongo! He glares suspiciously at me. Ah! He turns his back to me and cuddles against Leanna. I sigh. Well, I guess I have no choice but to make do with being pillowless. Lying back down on my bedroll, I close my eyes and eventually drift to sleep. A dull throbbing in my back pulls me awake. I hadn't fully appreciated the magic of mattresses until now. A yawn escapes and I stretch widely. Aside from the achiness, I actually feel well rested. I sit up and glance around. Zach leans against a tree with his head down. His hair covers his eyes so I can't tell if they're open or closed. Regardless, his hands rest on the handles of his dischargers. Creepy. Looking around again, I fail to spot Leanna. Where did she go? I think I hear a cry in the distance. Is that her? I should go investigate. Crossing over a hill, I see Leanna practicing in an open field. She grips her blade in a fighting stance, her face stern with concentration. She swings her blade in a high arc, ending with a graceful spin. Judging by how fluid and accurate her movement is, it's clear she's dedicated many years to perfecting her craft. Her hair whips around her as she turns, but never seems to blow in her face. Even with heavy armor, her movements are still nimble, as if she's wearing no armor at all. I wonder if all of that has to do with her wind magic. Once she notices me, she lowers her sword.
Oh, sorry. Did I wake you? I moved out here so I wouldn't disturb you.
No, I was already up. I didn't see you at camp, so I came looking.
Gotcha.
Glancing down at my feet, I spot the beaming Pongo. Leanna giggles.
Looks like you guys are best friends already.
Of course. The best of friends, isn't that right? The Pongo nods excitedly. It's pretty early. Do you always begin your mornings with a warm-up? Leanna nods.
It helps me wake up and prepare for the day ahead. Also, it's become a part of my routine, so it just doesn't feel right when I don't do it.
I know what you mean. I can't really go through my morning routine from Earth here on Terra, and it feels a bit strange.
Right.
Leanna looks down. The awkwardness creeps into the silence. She probably took that in a negative way, which wasn't my intention. That's okay, though. I can always make a new routine.
New routine?
I unsheath my blade and grip it. Whoa, man. Dial it back here. This morning practice you do seems like a good place to start. She grins.
Considering how well you handled yourself yesterday, I'm curious to see what's the extent of your skill set.
I smirk. Only one way to find out. So what's the lesson today, Senpai?
Sand pie?
I shake my head. Never mind. She blinks, then refocuses and matches my fighting stance by raising her sword.
Since you already have some experience with the blade, sparring will be the best way to gauge your skills.
I'm ready. I tighten the grip on my blade. Ready when you are.
Here I come!
Leanna dashes towards me. Her movements seem slower than what they were during the bandit fight. It seems like she isn't using her wind magic. Click the icons as fast as I can do. Oh! Wow. Leanna keeps me on the defensive, and even though I can feel the control in her attacks, every blow hits with a resounding clang. I thought I was going to flat... Okay, I'm an idiot. Alright. Let me just stare at the icons instead of clicking on a single one of them. Alright. I'm never able to get into the offensive. This fight is completely one-sided, and she's not even using her magic. We go back and forth with a few more swings, until Leanna strikes from above. I hurriedly block with my sword, but I lose my balance in my hurry and topple to the ground, landing on my back. Oof! Leanna kneels down beside me. That was pretty bad, huh? Leanna looks apologetic as she thinks of the best way to word her thoughts.
Well, there is room for improvement.
Ouch.
Your reflexes are good, but your technique needs work. If we focus on practicing the basics, then we'll get you to where you need to be in no time.
Aww. Leanna extends a hand and helps me back onto my feet.
It would be better if I could watch you spar with someone else. That way, I can see your movement from different angles and give you better feedback.
Unless the Pongo can use a sword, the only other option is Zack. I look around and spot Zack leaning against a tree closer to our sparring location. He watches us with his arms crossed. Wait, how long has he been here? Leanna rushes over to him.
Zack! Would you be willing to duel with him?
She points to me.
I'd like to get a better look at his technique.
He merely stares at her.
Oh, right. You need a blade.
Leanna hands her blade to Zack. He takes it from her and inspects
What are the rules of the duel?
it.
Standard spar. Be the first one to knock your opponent to the ground.
Zack nods and heads toward the field. Okay, I'm ready for it this time. As Leanna returns to me, we share a glance. That was surprisingly easy. I guess it's not in a mercenary's nature to back down from a fight, even if it's a fake one.
Are you two ready?
I was born ready. I step a decent distance away from Zack and ready my blade. Yup! Zack continues to stand there. I look at Leanna again and she just shrugs. He nods.
Okay, begin!
I rush forward, and suddenly I'm on the ground, staring up at the sky with an aching pain in my chest and the wind knocked out of me. I groan.
Strange. I thought he'd last at least 2 shots.
Wow. Alright, Mr. Humblebrag.
Zack!
What?
Why did you use your discharger?
Why not?
Leanna steps forward.
The whole point was to have a sword match with him.
You didn't list that as a rule.
Her frustration is evident in her voice.
Why else would I give you my sword?
Why did you give me your sword?
For you to use!
She snatches her blade back from Zack and heads over to me.
Are you hurt?
My pride. So this is what it feels like to be emasculated. Twice. My gaze drifts past Leanna to the blue sky behind her. At least the view is nice. Leanna helps me up again.
The one and only lesson you need to know when fighting. Do whatever it takes to win.
As soon as he's done speaking, Zack turns around, flourishing his trench coat, and heads back to the campsite. That sounds just like what the angsty, badass main character of a JRPG would say. My suspicions were correct all along. Leanna huffs.
Mercenaries can be so annoying sometimes.
Well, mercenaries take on all sorts of jobs, including some really unsavory types. That probably influences their battle ethics and code for survival to be more brutal than others. Leanna ponders my words.
That's true.
We pack up our things and clean up the campsite. Then we continue our journey. As we walk, we slip into a comfortable silence. Zack lingers behind Leanna and I while the Pongo returns to his usual spot on my head. After a few hours, it doesn't feel like we're getting any closer. So, how long until we reach Illumia?
We'll need to stop at Raven Pass to restock and spend the night. But if we continue to make good time, we'll reach Illumia by midday tomorrow.
One more day of walking. If only I had brought my BitFit, I would have my daily steps done for a lifetime. I nod and we fall back into silence. By mid-afternoon, we arrive at the gates of a settlement even smaller than Meadow Hill Village. The town consists of an inn and a few shops, the bare essentials. They probably only ever see travelers like us, people passing through on their way to Illumia.
Okay, we should stock up on supplies.
I'll be making a stop at the weaponsmith.
Zack pats the 2 holstered dischargers by his side. Now that I think about it, I only saw him use one during the bandit ambush. The other one must have already been damaged.
I'll check out the shop since my weapons are okay on repairs.
I'll go with you. Leanna smiles. Zack nods.
See you soon then.
He turns down another path.
Let's go!
Leanna smiles back at me as she leads the way to the shops. Wait up! We find the general store with ease since the marketplace itself is quite small. In fact, I'm surprised by how busy this store is. I guess if you're the only general store around, business is bound to be good. As Leanna picks out a couple items, I look around the shop. I notice people of all backgrounds wearing clothes ranging from the leather I'd seen in Meadow Hill to intricately embroidered robes. They really do get all types traveling through here. Once Leanna is finished, I follow her to the counter to pay for our items.
Will that be all for today?
Leanna
Your
nods.
total comes to 34 coin.
Leanna's eyes widen.
34 coins for these? It should be at most 30.
The shopkeeper frowns apologetically. He doesn't seem too happy about the price either.
I'm sorry, miss. The goods themselves are only 20 coins. The rest of the cost is the 70% tax.
Wow. I hope you at least get free universal health insurance and education with those taxes, right? Both Leanna and the shopkeeper look at me in confusion. Leanna furrows her brow.
I don't remember the tax being so high in the past.
The mayor only recently increased the tax.
Has no one asked why? It doesn't seem fair.
The man nods.
We did in the beginning, but then the mayor hired enforcers of the new law.
Oh, this is one of those taxes. Leanna frowns but doesn't say anything more. The shopkeeper continues to look apologetic as he gestures at her items.
I'm really sorry about this, miss, but I don't have any other choice.
I understand. It's not your fault.
She hands over the coins.
Thank you for understanding. Safe travels.
As we head out, Leanna seems quieter than usual. Are you okay?
Something about this just doesn't seem right. New tax rules and new guards to enforce them? I came through here only a few days ago on my way to Meadow Hill, and the tax hadn't been changed then. It all seems too sudden.
We should find out what's going on here. Leanna blinks.
Really?
I nod. We can't just leave it alone if something foul is at play here. Leanna smiles.
You're right. Anyway, let's go meet up with Zack.
I nod. We make our way to the lane of armory and smiths and peek through a few shop windows before we spot Zack. A guard looms over him. Uh-oh. This doesn't look promising. Leanna frowns as we enter the shop.
This doesn't concern you. Stay out of it.
It became my concern when you threatened him in front of me.
Threatened? All I told him was what may happen to his store if he doesn't pay up for these protective services.
Leave. Now.
The guard laughs.
What makes you think I'd listen to you?
Zack glares at the guard as he flips open his coat and reveals his discharger. He grips the second discharger on the table. The color drains from the guard's face.
2 dischargers with purple spheres and a black trench coat.
My
It can't be.
My God. Zack shifts slightly, increasing the ferocity in his eyes. The guard tries to hide his fear with false bravado. He turns towards the shopkeeper.
You're lucky your friend was here today.
Yeah.
He won't always be here, though.
You're lucky my friend's holding me back. After imparting one last subtle threat, the guard hurries out of the shop, brushing past Leanna and I. Zack relaxes, and the shopkeeper sighs in relief.
Thank you.
That have to do with this new tax you mentioned?
The shopkeeper nods.
The taxes just keep growing. I've tried to keep my prices as low as possible for the customers, but then our taxes grow and, well, you saw what happens next.
His fingers tremble as he takes back the discharger. I think he's still shaken up by what happened.
I'm sorry. I still need a few more minutes to finish up the repairs. It would have been done by now if we hadn't been interrupted.
Zack nods. The weaponsmith gives him a grateful smile as he returns to his workroom. Tax issues again.
It looks like it's affecting all of the stores. And it's only going to get worse.
I'm not going to let it escalate.
Leanna and I glance at Zack in surprise.
You two head to the inn. I have something to take care of first.
What are you planning to do?
I'm going to pay a visit to the mayor.
We're coming too. Zack looks surprised.
Something here is just not right. We can't sit by and do nothing.
The shopkeeper returns and places Zack's discharger on the counter.
All fixed.
Thanks. Here.
Zack offers coins to the vendor, who shakes his head.
Please, don't worry about it. You've already done me a huge favor by helping me with the guard.
This voice acting from the merchant is about as good as mine. Zack holsters his discharger and places the coins on the counter
I
anyway.
insist.
The shopkeeper looks conflicted, then sighs and nods gratefully. Zack leads the way out of the shop and through the town. His footsteps are long and full of purpose, which is a change from his quiet, cautious demeanor. I can't help but look at him with a newfound respect. This is the first time I've seen him so determined and driven. Soon we arrive in front of a large, elaborate mansion. It looks very out of place compared to the modest shops in the rest of the town. 2 men guard the entrance. Zack pauses and sizes up the guards. Okay, guys. It's been a little over half an hour. I'm gonna cut it here, just so that we have something exciting to start off the next video with. I hope you're enjoying these, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.